Hi, I'm Brian McLachlan and this is Deep Thought Balloon, little videos about comic stories, pop culture, and other stuff. Let's talk a bit more about joke structure. A couple episodes ago, I talked about the power of threes. That's a nice short way to set up a rhythm and sabotage it, but there's no reason you can't go longer. Some jokes need a longer setup to give you the context for the characters and situation. A newspaper strip often has 4 panels to help you remember the situation from yesterday's story. Having extra panels is great for giving you a list-like rhythm. Lists are fun because you just have a bunch of nonsense in a row, an onslaught of silliness. Lists without jokes can be funny on their own, like Dasher, Dancer, Prancer and Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donder and Blitzen. Those names are pretty weird, and the first time you heard them it was probably a roller coaster of what sort of nonsense will come next. Isn't Cupid from Valentine's Day? What even is a Donder? Usually you'd start up a list with 2 normal things, and then sabotage it, and keep sabotaging it, like I'd like to order bacon, sausage, 2 eggs, face sun, snap, crackle pop, bleep bloop blurp, 8 chickens in a row, raw toast, not bread, toast but raw, werewolf juice, potato chip cookie, meat lover's milkshake, hot buttered popcorn, cold buttered popcorn, room temperature buttered popcorn but that room is on the moon, the blood of the 7th son of a 7th son, pepperoni pineapple papaya pie, melted pink popsicle on the rocks, 42 grapes, separate plates, a bag of yum-yums, hold the milk. Now this list is nonsense, but you can see some method to the madness. For instance, within the bigger list, I used a pattern of 3 starting with hot buttered popcorn. There's the impossible contradiction of raw toast and the disgusting contradiction of a meat lover's milkshake. The dark humor of drinking blood, the frustrating and unique visual of 42 grapes on separate plates, the alliterative pepperoni pineapple papaya pie. Lots of different things going on there. You can either end on your favorite big joke to go out with a bang, or kind of a dud so that the laughter cools down and you can transition into the story, and all the other characters respond to the list. Both approaches have value. I do a regular 2-page comic in Owl magazine where I often riff on a theme like different costumes the kids have made for Halloween. In this case, I'm riffing on exercises. I noticed that sit-ups, chin-ups, pull-ups, exercises all were something ups, so I joke that you might need to do sit-downs, or perform stand-up, or wanting to throw up. And in my 6-panel webcomic called The Princess Planet, I'd explore the same joke idea over several panels, with the king receiving worse and worse suggestions for a new flag, or the princesses one-upping each other with better pets. So if you're going to do a longer form comic, you aren't just choosing your best joke from your brainstorm, you're picking a handful and seeing how you can link them together. What sort of setup will allow you to use a lot of the silly things you've come up with? Imagine you had a bunch of movie portmanteaus like Shrek It Ralph, Kung Fu Peter Panda, and Finding Nemo Anna, or Moana of Green Gables? I don't know. Maybe you could do a joke about how consuming content on your phone and TV at the same time means your memory of them is muddied, unfocused. Find a story or joke you can build around or towards with other jokes. If you're more of a visual joker, you want to use a montage. You've probably seen them in your favorite cartoons and movies where a character is trying on different outfits, training for a big contest, having a wild day of fun, but we only get little snippets of what's happening. That's how you do the rhythm of lists with pictures. And another thing you want to do with your jokes is work them into a longer story. Even if your story isn't a comedy, humor is an important tool in your toolbox. You may want to consider adding a joke in these situations. To have a prank pulled on a character to make the audience sympathetic to them, to see them as an underdog. To have a character use a witty comeback against a bully to make them an aspirational hero we wish we could be more like. To have a character not give an answer but distract the questioner by laughing it off, building suspense for when the information is revealed, or when the consequences of answering are finally faced. To release the tension during or after a scene of intense drama or horror or other emotion. To set the tone of the story as light-hearted, like how you don't consider the pain of being injured in a Jackie Chan fight the way you consider the pain characters feel in a horror movie. To keep your audience's attention, studies show that students remember more when teachers use humor in their lessons. Perhaps this is because the brainwaves that fire up when you notice a surprise of information keeps your brain alert and that moment is memorable. Delivering information in a comedic way can help the audience remember that information later in your story. Side note, remembering a joke in its entirety is a challenge for most people. That's why a lot of comedies have characters with catchphrases. When a character does something silly, they can say something silly, and phrases that are repeated stick in the mind even more. Then, later when the audience wants to revisit that moment of joy with a friend, all they need to do is say the catchphrase rather than have to recite a carefully worded joke, said with the right pacing and right intonation. Giving your characters a catchphrase can help the audience feel a connection to these funny characters that lives on beyond the page or screen. Also, I forgot to be extra clear in my note about seeing, recognizing, and accepting that one of the reasons we travel to look for new experiences is to gain a new perspective. It's easier to see what's happening in a culture when you're outside of it. By going to a new place, you can compare 2 things and see what's different and try to figure out why. It's hard to recognize that you and your groups do anything unusual if you haven't seen another way of doing things. The trickster is a roaming outsider. Anyways, I hope all of this stuff helps you find a way to incorporate jokes into your work a little bit better. Good luck, and keep thinking deep thought balloons.